When I think about trying to tell people about the fear of especially technology and AI, it's lead into daily tasks that can be done for you. Get those off your plate and then be able to keep that human element of reaching out, connecting to people, learn from them, understand where their pain points are, and then be able to create those systems around it that can be automated, but also have that human touch with networking and being able to talk to people.
How did you start that when nobody was allowed to even gather during the pandemic? So on paper, that sounds like a terrible idea.
I saw that I had clients that were associations, and associations booked very far out in advance. And we all thought 3 weeks. I was trying to keep these clients and trying to book even 18 months out and keeping stuff and not knowing how long this was going to be, but also knowing that this is something that has not been integrated into our industry yet. Like they were out there, the videos, the virtual site tours, but they were never integrated in the sourcing process. And if we are not using the technology that is out there that's building the systems, we're going to fall behind. The belief in myself that I can continue this and it will be an amazing company and we will beat out our competitors and we will have the industry behind us, but you have to stay in it.
Well, my guest today lost her job in the middle of the pandemic. She lost the commission she'd already earned. Most people would have taken a long time to recover. Well, Debbie Garcia instead started a company. She spent more than 15 years in the events world, on the hotel side, the planning side, probably everything in between, and she'll tell us more about that. So she knows how events really come together, the markups, the last-minute scrambles, et cetera, et cetera. In 2020, she built something called VersaTours, a platform that lets planners see what they're sourcing before they commit to it. Very importantly, I want to mention that she's been named a Titan 100 CEO, made the Smart Women in Meetings Hall of Fame, wow, and won Meeting Planner of the Year, among many other things. She wants the industry to move faster while keeping the human side of it fully intact and in place. Debbie, welcome to Bold Conscious Connections.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're apparently a well-known podcaster, and I just heard that, so...
I worked a very, very long time in radio and television before I went into the events industry. So, and then came into podcasting. So when I learned radio, it was like reel to reel and splicing, got into the digital world. And now everyone, it seems, to be able to have their own radio shows, which is fun. So I'm working on my third podcast myself right now.
Oh, good. Well, we can't wait to talk about that someday, if not today. So I know you're, in this world we live in today with AI, and you and I met at a side event online, talking about AI and all the other challenges of business, entrepreneurship, et cetera. So you spent years sourcing venues on phone calls and the gut feel, et cetera, right? When did that way of working start to sit wrong with you, if there's such a way to say that?
Well, for me, when I was sourcing events and venues, so I went from I was on the supplier side when I got into the events industry. So it was at the venue level as a salesperson, at the hotel level, catering. And I also worked for 2 tech startups before I started my own company in the events industry and seeing how these tools were helping people get to what they wanted. But when the pandemic hit, I found that I could not work the way I used to. So when I was just doing venue sourcing, I was sourcing places from all over the world and places I've never been. And I didn't have video. I didn't have the specification sheets. Everything was kind of off of Google searches um or connections with people that you meet. And it's a great way to do things with connections, but it doesn't give you the full picture. And what I needed at the time, I needed the full picture so event planners and people like myself can move forward into understanding what it looks like, walking around it, all the specifications like your room sizes, how many rooms, amenities, in order to make a qualified decision.
So take us through this. So how did that work? So a company or a client prospect wants to do an event, a physical event, right? Back in the day, and then they'll find you somehow, and then you're helping them with what hotels, conference rooms, and airfare, air travel, or what?
Well, we don't really do that as much. We actually have a agency, a travel agency, but a lot of event professionals don't get into the airfare. There's other people. It's a lot. So
Well, I'm saying back then, before the pandemic. Well, yeah.
yeah, back then, and even through it, we do virtual as well. But what I created so back in the day, what people would do is they find a third party sourcing agency is like what I worked for, or they'd be internal. So they'd have event planners. And there's still, though, this sourcing that has to be done. You still have to find the place. You still have to, create the request for proposal and send it. And who do you send it to? And then you have to come back, negotiate. So I did a lot of that through the agency that I worked for and gave away half of my money after commissions. But what I really was lacking in that was the full event scope. So that was hotels only. I don't I don't do hotels, I do events. So it's anywhere from the hotel, the offsite venues, the, event services like your catering, transportation, all of that, and then also working with the destinations because the destinations know more about anything than you can ever imagine. So bringing, an ecosystem together, but utilizing the visuals was really important because I came from television, that's where I came from. So knowing that was a helpful guide in being able to put it all together is where the way my brain works at least.
So the safe move in 2020 was probably to wait for the market and then take the next job, right, with an agency or something. But you built instead. Where did that come from? Where did that courage and whatever the boldness come from?
I went through a lot of jobs in the events industry. I had very, very bad bosses in venues and hotels. And when I made the change over to the agency, that really was becoming an independent contractor. So I was kind of working for myself already. And then also took another job because as type A, I was terrified to not have an income. But when the world changed and everything was off the table and couldn't go into a physical office anymore, and I lost a job and I lost all my venue sourcing, I said, got two kids at home. One was 3 years old and one was 7. And I said, I've got to do something instead of just sitting around. I went crazy. I had never even built a website before, but I had this idea. I I bought a Wix site and said, let's see if this flushes out, and made a lot of phone calls to people like, "Hey, if I built this thing, does that make sense?" And it really just started from there to keep my sanity in trying to continue to work in an industry, but also help fix it, change it, and get it through the pandemic because virtual site tours and what we offered was actually helping people to book for the future.
The events company that that how did you start that when nobody was allowed to even gather during the
Right.
pandemic, right? So on
Yeah,
paper,
so
that
yeah.
sounds like a terrible idea.
Yes,
What
except
did
when
you
you
see
have
that the paper missed?
well, I saw that I had clients that were associations, and associations book very far out in advance, and we all thought, "This will be 6 months. This will be" we all thought 3 weeks.
Like we all did, yeah.
Right. So, I was trying to keep these clients and trying to book even 18 months out and keeping stuff and not knowing how long this was gonna be, but also knowing that this is something that has not been integrated into into our industry yet. Like, they were out there, the videos, the virtual site tours, but they were never integrated in the sourcing process, and I just saw an opportunity, and
But you
especially when
did you
people
didn't see people just wanting to cancel. Hey, I got the pandemic. I can't do this event. Did they not call for that and tell, sort of
Oh,
say,
yeah, we
you get a
canceled
lot
a
of that,
lot, and that's where I lost all my money, or we had
right, right,
to,
right,
do it was a lot of work for no pay,
correct.
for a very long time and
I can
rescheduling
imagine.
or less pay, but what I found is that people were looking for an alternate method. It's kind of like having a meeting like this, where normally, if you were gonna invite me onto your show, I would have to go to a studio, I'd have to fly there if we're not in the same virtual meetings actually kept the whole industry running, and we also offered that. So at the beginning, what we were in person, virtual, hybrid. So we were able to help people in every way. But for me, it was being able to see demos, see the site, see everything in one place to make a qualified decision.
That's great. So there was a belief about yourself, right? Obviously, right? Or about the industry, one or the other, I'm sure. And then you had to let go of all that before you started your company.
Yeah, I think for me, it was I had nothing to lose and I had to keep my sanity with my kids. And I didn't have a job. I mean, what was I doing? And I was, making lunches and making sure kids were on their virtual calls. But at the end of the day, I was losing myself. And this is what really kept me going. Like this was therapy for me. This was ideas. This was be able to learn technology. And this was all before AI came out. It was really understanding how everything in my past came together, the radio, the television, the events industry, kind of utilizing pillars of understanding my own background to create something new for others in order for them to do better work.
Stories make the world go around, right, Debbie? So, the story that probably somebody listening or watching this, it's like, how did you make money? Talk to me about money in year one. How thin did you get? And in terms of, having no finances, and what were you telling yourself on a hard day? Whatever. What comes to mind?
Yeah, so it was difficult. We did get free food from the schools. They were providing free breakfast and lunch, and every day we would pack up in the car, get our little Ziploc bags, and that fed us. Then being able to connect with people, not necessarily making money on it, but being able to just keep my sanity of talking to people. But what did help me during that time was taking on small jobs that actually were helping people create systems, which created the system for VersaTour with companies where I said, I'm starting my own. I will take an admin job online and help with all of this stuff and get it per hour, but I don't want my name. I just want to be called admin or make up a name and be able to keep make money, but also be able to start a company incognito in a sense, be able to still be the CEO and have this great idea. But yes, it was very difficult, still bootstrapped. So we're 5 years in, have not taken any investment. So we do use client base, being able to still run the agency, and we work on commission. So those commissions and everything keep it going, but still not that billionaire that I thought I'm going to be. Although I heard in the Mercury retrograde changing that I'm coming into a lot of money soon. So let's really hope for that.
Well, that's how we met. So there's a collaborative thing here that I think I could just, two and two make 11 in my book, not just two, right? So in the worst stretch, I mean, because this podcast is called Bold Conscious Connections, so there's boldness and consciousness. Uh, could you feel the difference between reacting out of fear at the time you were reaching out to people, admin, doing whatever, or choosing on purpose or with intent?
I feel for me, it was really I saw a need in my own industry and I wanted to change the game. And it's always been the mission and the purpose of what I created was to not just be a tool, not be technology, not be an event planner, but change people's behavior. And I think when you really have that purpose and understanding that it goes down to neuroscience, it goes down to confidence, it goes down to resilience. There's so much more than just being what the job title is or what you're doing. That is what makes me do it, continue to do it every day and learn during this process, I got my MBA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I already had my CMP, which is a certified meeting professional, but I got my MBA. I got certified in life coaching. I've taken classes on relationships. I've gone through some really dark times, and rage and fear, and also being a middle-aged woman, some of those changes in your body. Like, there's just a lot happening during this time period that is unlike other tech startup stories where you hear from Silicon Valley that this 20-year-old has an idea and gets funded $5 million. Like, the story for me is built on purpose, not getting it to market fast. It's understanding who the right people are to be our users and build from community.
So then in that case, tell me about the first stranger who actually paid you money, someone perhaps with no reason to do you a favor, right? Where were you and where did that come from?
Well, so because we have two sides of it, I'll kind of tell you that I was winning an award and I put it on LinkedIn and someone found me on there and reached out via LinkedIn and they said, "Hey, we're needing some help with sourcing for an event. It's here in Nashville, blah blah blah." So I met with them, ended up helping them with the sourcing. And then, of course, I would get paid for that. But the second thing that happened was they reached out later and said, "We are having the hardest time with the hotel and understanding their billing process and the rooming list," which went into, "Hey, can you help with registration at the door?" Which went into, "Can you help with this?" So I actually built a client from their needs and just staying connected. Ends up, I worked for them for four of their events, full scale planning, did everything for them until they both left the company and things changed over. I was with them an extra year, and that was a very hard decision to go back after like 5 years of work, 4 years of working for a company and saying, I need to take the break and really invest into my time into the tech platform. So when we talk about taking a step back and saying, "Oh, there goes all your money because you need your time back," that was last year, and but it's paying off now, like, I'm seeing it pay off, but yeah, they were, like, really the first one that was, hopefully, I'll see them this weekend, but still friends with them, Jennifer and Emily just needed help and I was there, and we've stayed consistent friends throughout. So they are the first ones on that side, and we did source everything through VersaTour, but my first paying supplier on the platform when we were taking, subscription-based, we've changed that over now to a commission-based, but was Sherry Deutschman, who runs Brain Trust here in Nashville and Charlotte and Atlanta, which is for female entrepreneurs, which I'm part of a vault. Very, very amazing ideas that she has, but she has a place down in Mexico, and I told her, "You gotta get this place listed on VersaTour," and she was my first paying client. So, those are the 2 on the yeah.
It's a great shout outs to all these wonderful people that were
Absolutely,
part of it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
hope they're
yeah.
listening.
I hope that. Well, you better send it to them.
Yeah.
So you said you wanted to have the industry move faster while holding on to the human connection, right? So talk a bit about that because today in today's world, with people maybe watching, listening in my community, they're at a crossroads of some kind. I mean, we're always at a crossroads in transition, et cetera. But the thing is, for those that are like, scared to death of AI and their job's going to go, and a lot of my clients are all in the technology world and engineers and so on, either from overseas or they live here and they're just trying to figure out where life takes them. What should they be doing in spite of the fear in terms of, and I know this because I act despite the fear. In spite of it, it's right there, but without acting, making or taking the action, nothing happens, right? So that's what I teach and coach about. But what is your take on all that?
For me, it was about learning. Obviously, going and getting all these certifications, it's about learning, and I think that understanding that you don't know everything and leaning into what is uncomfortable is better than fearing it. I think that if that something is scary, hey, learn about it. It becomes less scary. Um, we are having the same type of crossroads in the events industry where, yeah, I could be replaceable. People can go on to ChatGPT or Claude and be like, hey, give me the top 5 places that have blah, blah, blah specifications. But when I say I want that human element, there is still a salesperson that is reviewing that request for proposal and being able to place it. That is never going to go away in our industry. There's also not going to be robots running events. They actually cannot do it. Takes a special kind of brain to be an event professional, and it is one of the top 5 most stressful jobs in the world is being an event planner. Look it up, I'm not kidding about it. It is very, very stressful. And then also making sure that we understand the demographic on who an event planner is. They're usually the average age is a 46-year-old woman. Now you are dealing with people who are raising children and also taking care of parents. We're in a sandwich age where we're all trying to have this stressful job, travel, be with clients, be with family, being able to take care of everything. And if we are not using the technology that is out there that's building the systems, we're going to fall behind. So when I think about trying to tell people about the fear of especially technology and AI, it's lead into daily tasks that can be done for you. Get those off your plate and then being able to keep that human element of reaching out, connecting to people, learn from them, understand where their pain points are, and then be able to create those systems around it that can be automated, but also have that human touch with networking and being able to talk to people.
So now in today's world, 2026, what does it look like for you in terms of the split between virtual, or is it all virtual for you because it's VersaTour, or is it you're still doing live events in physical terms?
Oh, everything points towards a live event on our so when we're using the virtual site tours and the videos and all that to make that decision to send the request for proposal to that hotel or venue or service. So everything is really pointing towards it. We do have event services on the platform that do the hybrid events, the virtual events still, they're kind of in their own silo. Um, but anything event related could be sourced through us, but everything normally points towards getting to the physical event. So it's really building where are we going, who are we using. So it's your supplier list.
And then the audience for that event, even if it's physical, does it have to be physically live, or they could be on Zoom's screens on their at their studio?
And they can do that too, and that's choosing that AV provider, choosing that videographer, like, and then that's choosing it on our platform. So what we're doing is we're giving everyone the opportunity, more like a directory, I would say, but not just being able to find information, but with the system behind it, which is creating the request for proposal. It gets sent out to the supplier. The supplier can respond with a proposal, and they are able to chat on our platform. They're able to send contract negotiations back and forth. And it's free for everybody to use. It's just the suppliers pay us a commission once the event is over. And it really is an open source kind of system where everyone can kind of be able to find what they're needing, because sourcing takes the most amount of time in the event planning. It's finding the right places.
Yeah, yeah. So the reason that is the case because when people are physically there, right? That's what they're checking into hotels and doing what they do, and then being part of the event itself, along with the food and all the other things you talked about. So I see behind your wall is a lot of recognition, a wall of awards here.
I do have a lot of
So when these awards land, how do you keep them from deciding who you are?
I think that it's very a lot of these awards were very specific. I think that the ones that I have up here, especially from Smart Meetings, I was named Innovator in 2022 and then inducted in the Hall of Fame in 24. Like, that was recognition from peers. That was not me applying for that. The same thing with the Titan 100 award. It's the Titan 100 CEO. It's a new CEO award given in Nashville, and most of those people come from, like, Fortune 500 companies. I was probably the smallest company that won that award. Again, peer submitted. The next award is the truest one to my heart, because that it was given by the Nashville Entrepreneurial Center.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
I got Startup of the Year, in my 5th year, so it was, like, the last year I could win it, for hospitality and retail as being the only tech company in there. And then, Meeting Professionals International, I had won the President's Award and the last year Planner of the Year, and also is recognized by several other places without actual awards, but being able to be, recognized for the efforts is not me submitting, "Hey, I wanna be recognized." These were all given by my peers.
That's awesome. So now looking back at that woman who started this in the worst year of their life, as you said, what does that woman, understand about herself now that she could not see then?
Gosh, I didn't have patience. I ruined a few relationships with, um, business partners or possible people who can help me because I was so stuck in my ways, or I've done that already. I've really learned to listen a lot better to people instead of thinking I know all the answers. Um, Resilience, man, there's every day I get up, I'm like, "Why am I doing this?" But every day, if I don't, I'm not helping someone, and I think that being able to be resilient, is the key to being an entrepreneur. Like, if you cannot have the grit to do this, you shouldn't be doing it. Um and the clarity and belief. I think those are the 2 that go hand in hand for me, which is knowing what the product is and making it clear to people in my messaging, which has actually been a stumbling block until this year, like, really realizing, "Wow, people don't know what I'm doing. They all think I'm doing a million different things, and that's on me." But the belief in myself that I can continue this and it will be an amazing company, and we will beat out our competitors, and we will have the industry behind us, but you have to stay in it.
So why do you say it? What makes you go in the morning and say, "Okay, I got to do this"?
Number 1, I don't think I can go back and work for somebody else. I don't like to be told what to do, I guess that is I realized that through many of my jobs, I would have ideas and I'd have to bring it to somebody, and then they would say, like, "No," or "I don't like it," or I would just do things hoping people would like it. Well, when I'm in charge and I make the decisions, it feels like I have control over it. Yeah, we may need to dig into that a little deeper, on that, but I do think that for me, I believe that this is the next thing. I do believe that once people know about it, start using it, start understanding it, that they they want this. Even though the industry tells them by the $4.8 billion companies that are my competition, something else, none of them like that product. It's just the only one out there. Well, there's a new kid in town, and we're one of you. And I think that that's the big difference between big tech companies and people who build something based on their own experience. And I think you got to look into that sometimes and go, where do you believe? Where can you also help grow? If I have an issue and I go to a tech company and go, hey, I need this feature built or something's not working, are they going to listen when we're more likely to go, oh, maybe we should ask others and then we can build it?
Hmm. So we can dig deeper into that too. But 7 levels of why do you do what you do? I do this exercise with a lot of people in my coaching framework. So it until they're like into 7 levels, it's like very hard to know why do I do what I do. But I love the fact that, hey, listen, your freedom, what you choose to do is yours, and no one can take that away from you. So this is called bold conscious connection. So we talked about your boldness, and obviously you've overcome many things. What does consciousness mean to you?
For me, it's being present. I think that being able to be present in moments where they are uncomfortable, where you don't want to do something, but being able to stay in the moment and be aware of, what's around you. I mean, for me, you just said like the 7 levels of why. For me, it's my family, it's my kids. I it was that like we talked about, it was that freedom to be there for them. And then from that, understanding consciously that what I'm trying to build for my own family, I'm not the only one. So I know that I am the demographic of what I'm building, and I am there to help others.
Hmm. So where does that come from? Like the desire to help others?
Gosh, I don't know. It's a weird thing because deeply I am not sure that it comes off as sincere as it is in my heart. Um
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Well, I'm a New Yorker living in Nashville. So when I first got here, and I've been here now 23 years, it was you're direct. You come off, blah blah blah, and it's like that's just the way I was raised. Like you just tell it like it is, and being in a community where it's a little slower paced, and everyone likes to say the nice words, even though it may not be helpful. Um,
Or true sometimes.
I mean, it could be. It's the bless your heart that really gets to me. That is not a helpful, just tell me like it is, but not feeling like I fit in in a community where I was an outsider. I mean, even when I entered the events industry, I mean, I was an outsider. I came from radio, I came from television, I came from the outside, but I think that gives a unique perspective that others are finally realizing that, hey, they may have not done it their whole life, but they got the experience to bring us to a different level. And I think that that need to help like people to see unconsciously themselves what is blocking them. I mean, that's why got my life coaching license. I was like, I need to understand the neuroscience between what goes through people, what went through me. Why did I take on a client that was clearly throwing up every red flag? And what was it for me? It was fear of money. I was watching myself deplete my bank account on technology. I need to take on another client, and that one was the one at the time, and it was the worst decision of my life a month in. I had to let them go. I said, "This is not working. I am stressed out. I'm yelling at my children. Dinner's not getting on the table. I can't get everything done. My own company for the technology is being left to the side." And I had to make that decision. And then from there, I learned, you know, red flags are there for a reason. And how do I help others not get into that situation or show them what the lesson was learned? And I think that you have to go through hard things and trial and error because I don't think anybody ever goes like their first time out and gets it right. Failure is a part of it.
Yeah, of course. So I'm a native New Yorker too, by the way, and I'm living in the South, like you. But
You
I had
get it.
42 years there, 5 year.
Mhm.
I totally get the bless your heart thing.
Yeah.
For those of you who
It's
don't
so
know, Google it.
destabilizing. Yeah, it's not good.
So, this is so cool. You know, I ask this question usually on most my episodes of my guests before we even begin, but here I'm going to do it at the end. Who is Debbie? Not what from what she does, but who is Debbie?
Wow, Debbie is a outgoing type A, but super closed off individual. I don't think I'm closed off, but I've been told that I'm getting a lot better. But I am a person who um, can trust too hard or not trust at all. And I think that that radar is getting tuned in a little better and understanding who my people are instead of who can help me. Um, at the end of the day, I'm a mom. I am a mom of 2 kids. I my whole being is to take care of them, teach them, make them good citizens of the world. And also I think that I'm all around just someone who wants to achieve. I want to achieve things in my life through learning, being future forward, and very responsible. And that is kind of like where my core is at is if you're going to say you're going to do something, you're going to do it and not being late, having we actually it was funny we can tell people this but I had to cancel on you the other day because there was a internet outage in all of Nashville, and I felt horrible. I couldn't do anything about it, but we found a time to meet. But for me, being able to go to you, that felt irresponsible of me, even though I couldn't do anything about it. And I think that showing up on time, being present in the moment, and I think that at the core of who I am is just somebody who wants to be there for others, but sometimes it doesn't come off that way.
That's beautiful. Very well said, Debbie. I think all of this resonates with me too because I go, when how do you build trust? By saying what you do and doing what you say.
Yeah.
That's simple, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, things happen, and that was perfectly okay. It's all good. You communicated so quickly.
Yes. I was like,
Um,
internet out. I have an hour. I'm telling him now.
all right, so I like to do a little rapid fire, and then whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be one word either, but if it is what it is. So, the bravest email you ever hit send on.
This was recently. I sent an email to a hotel after a client has booked them and they left me off. I believe they did. They left me off of the commission. And I had to go back and be like, we did all this work together. You can't just leave me out. And that was really hard because I wanted to just let it go and, like, cut the ties, but I also knew that if I let the industry treat me like that, that means it's treating others like that, and again, trying to set a standard and precedent, and unfortunately, I have been ghosted now 3 times, and now I'm gonna have to pick up the phone, but yeah, that was an uncomfortable one I had to send recently.
Sure. Okay, a risk that scared you and paid off. I think you kind of touched on it already, but
Well, yeah, doing this, just putting my just the buying a website, like literally having no income and going, I have this idea, I have to see it. I didn't want to hire somebody or bring someone an idea before I even saw it. So being able to learn how to make a website and like literally physically show it to people and go, do you think this is a valid idea? Like I wanted to validate I kinda knew about entrepreneurial stuff before even learning about it, but it's like, I wanted to make sure that my brain dump was someplace that other people could understand, and that's hard. I mean, a lot of people can't do that, and I do think that that's, a pretty bold idea, and I'm still doing it, so.
it's good. A time your gut overruled the data.
Going with my current web developers, um the gut told me these are my perfect people. Like even the name of their company was about visuals and making it beautiful, but they did not have the back end platform experience of building this like enormous technology integrated thing. And I believe that it paid off because now we are kind of in a business partner relationship. We're releasing the next version of it. We learned a lot together through this process, which gave them confidence to even offer this to other clients. And for me, being able to have people in my own city that I'm able to work with. But at the beginning, probably was not the best idea to go with someone that didn't have the experience to build the technology on the back end.
What's the number that keeps a founder up at night?
Revenue. Yeah. I think for me, because profit is very tied to revenue, because being a tech company, I don't have an office. I don't really hire a lot of people, all that sort of stuff. But if I'm not seeing the money flowing in, that scares me a little bit. So I would say revenue keeps me up at night.
The compliment that landed deeper than any award you have behind you there.
Whew, that I matter.
Oh, I love that.
So it's interesting. And it happened on Mother's Day this year that my 9-year-old daughter wrote me a card, and she wrote in there, "Because you matter." And I'm getting teary eyed right now because I cried for 20 minutes, like that big cry. And then it happened again this weekend or last week at a retreat, as we go around the room and we tell each other what we like about you and what we hope for you. And someone said it again. And it was like, that word, "you matter," is just, it breaks me because I do matter. Because sometimes you do forget about yourself, that, oh, why am I doing this? Who cares? But you do matter. There's a purpose for you in life.
Well, so I think I want to kind of come to the end of that because the audience listening, they need to know that they matter. Whatever you do, whoever you do matter, and you got to find that in you. So I guess I have lots of rapid fire questions, but these two may be just pertinent, and I appreciate you being honest there. If you were to finish this line, the bet was worth it because.
The bet was worth it because I learned and grew from it. I don't wanna be the person I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I was able to grow in a way that I never thought I could. I learned so much through this process that I wanna teach others, and that's the hard part about it, is the helping part. Is like, "Oh, I wanna show you not what to do," but actually in that learning and in that failure and in that growth is where I became the person I am now. So you can teach people to watch out for pitfalls and be wary and tell them what to do, but at the end of the day, if they don't learn it themselves, it doesn't resonate.
That's right. So I love that because I think the bet was worth it because you matter. The bet was worth it because you have something unique to bring to the world. So as you were doing. So in that vein, I want to say thank you very much for your presence here and sharing your story with our listeners and viewers. Is there something that you might have discovered in this last 45 minutes? Anything at all?
I do think that, when your audience in particular are at a crossroads, and I think we discussed that before, is that everyone is always at a crossroads. But in this particular day and time, like most of us, like I'm going to be 49 in 2 weeks. And in my instance, growing up without technology and then learning it and being able to use it, and then having children who are like, "What are you doing? Use this." That ability to adapt and learn is inherent into our age group, whether you're like mid 40s to mid 50s. And I think that us being able to be, Generation X, and being able to have, latchkey kids and just all those things that we went through, we're already built resilient. And if you ever doubt that you can't do something, just think back to the phone connected to the wall and what you have learned now, and how you can learn and grow and every day do something different and significant and make yourself better, and never go into the fear of, "I'm too old," or "I can't do it."
Great. Well, she said it. Debbie Garcia, thank you for being on the show. And um, what can people reach you? We'll put the stuff in the show notes, but is there any particular place you want them to find you?
Yeah, they can find us on versatour.com, VIRSITOUR.com. We're relaunching in the next few weeks, so it'll be a new design. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's just Debbie. It's at Debbie Garcia 1, I believe. You can find me on LinkedIn. Um, and we're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram. You can find us anywhere. So yeah,
Well,
please
we'll put that in
connect.
the show notes, yes, and we'll make sure they can reach you. All right, Debbie, thanks again. Thank you for being on the show. Look forward to being in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.